Rodri to Barcelona is now officially confirmed. Barcelona have pulled off an incredible coup here by somehow convincing Rodri to not sign for Real Madrid and to sign for Barcelona. Now, the question is, how do Real Madrid handle and beat a Rodri-led Barcelona midfield? With Barcelona now adding Rodri to their ranks, this is probably the second best midfield in the world right now after PSG's stellar midfield. A midfield of Rodri, Pedri, Gavi, Frankie de Jong. That is a crazy midfield that focuses very good on keeping the ball and possession. Now, this does not bode well for Real Madrid, in my honest opinion. Barcelona signing a player like Rodri is literally a nightmare because how do you be a team that keeps the ball very, very well? If we can talk about the Spain versus France game in the World Cup several weeks ago, that's how I mirror the games. France being Real Madrid and Spain being Barcelona. And we saw France with all the attacking talents. The game was won in midfield. And we know that Real Madrid have a great attacking talent in Vinicius Jr., in Mbappe, in Diomande. I thought Diomande was very good against Schalke, in the last few minutes. Now, it doesn't matter how good your attack is. Games are won in midfield. Games are won and lost in midfield. And I fear that Real Madrid's midfield, I fear that they may struggle against a Rodri-led Barcelona midfield with Pedri, who in my opinion is the best keeper of the ball in the entire world. He hardly loses the ball. He knows when to release the ball, when to pass the ball, when to defend. He's a great midfielder. Then you add Rodri to that midfield, who's also a great keeper of the ball, defends the ball very well, moves the ball quickly, makes games tick. Real Madrid should have locked down Rodri and signed him 7 months ago, but they were slacking there. So it's over now. It's happened. Mourinho's now main objective here is to try and figure out a plan to beat this Barcelona midfield. Here's how I foresee La Liga going in the next season. I believe that Barcelona and Real Madrid will probably win all their games until they meet in El Clasico. And whoever wins El Clasico gets the edge in winning La Liga. Okay? And Mourinho has several games to figure out the best 11, the best teams for each, the best players for each position, and to figure out a plan to outclass the Barcelona midfield, whether it's pressing them high, whether it's outplaying them in midfield. Mourinho has a huge job in trying to figure out how do they bypass and outclass that Barcelona midfield. And this might sound a bit messed up, but I'm guessing that some Real Madrid fans are probably hoping that Rodri remains injury prone, gets his back injury again, etc., etc. There is a risk here, in him being re-injured, him being injury prone. So Barcelona are taking a risk here by signing a player who has recently gone for back injury, has some injury problems in the last few years. I think he tore his ACL several years ago. But we shall see. But what we saw in the World Cup from Rodri was quite magical, was quite insane. Now, the question is, Barcelona have to figure out a way to make Rodri tick. And they probably do have a plan, him playing in defensive midfield, Pedri ahead of him, Gavi ahead of him, etc., etc. But the big job for Real Madrid, and particularly Jose Mourinho, how do you bypass and outclass that Barcelona midfield? Now, Real Madrid have some good midfield players as well. They have Jude Bellingham. They have Arda Güler, who in my opinion, is the future of that Real Madrid midfield, and the new Mesut Ozil. Mourinho has to make sure he gets the best out of Jude Bellingham and Arda Güler. Jude Bellingham is a stellar midfield talent, so is Arda Güler. And it'll be those two players that will be tasked in out-creating that Barcelona midfield, playing the ball around that Barcelona midfield, moving it quickly. Do they have enough talent to do so? Yes, I do believe they have enough talent. We've seen Arda Güler play very well during pre-season. I think he's going to make a great step up this year. next year, sorry, and in my opinion, become a top 5 midfield player in the world. Arda Güler has that talent. Jude Bellingham, an amazing player. He definitely can go a bit further and do something great next year. Do something great. This midfield. So the El Clasico games. Whoever wins the midfield probably wins the league. Of course, wins the games, but also wins the league as well. And Mourinho has to figure out what's the best players to counteract the Barcelona midfield. Do you press Rodri very high? Do you press Pedri very high? This is going to be a very, very interesting year. How do Real Madrid battle and fight against a Rodri-led Barca midfield? Barca getting Rodri has made it very, very unfair. They already had a great midfield already in De Jong, in Pedri, etc., etc. But now that Rodri is coming in, that's going to be a crazy, crazy, crazy midfield. That's not going to be fair. And I feel like PSG has the best midfield in the world in Neves, in Vitinha. But with Rodri coming in for Barcelona, they won't be too far behind. They won't be too far behind. And I honestly feel like if Real Madrid do not win La Liga next season, it's a failure. They can't go 3 years without a trophy. Do I feel like they'll win the Champions League? I don't think so. They're in their real build stage. I think they're better teams than Bayern Munich and PSG. And I really feel like Madrid should probably prioritize La Liga and the Copa del Rey. And to win those 2 trophies, I think they're far ahead of Atletico Madrid and any other La Liga team. It's just Barcelona that keeps getting in their way. And they need to find a way to outplay that Barca midfield. It's funny how we say this because we have Zidane who has joined France, and France, they have it all. Spain have been a thorn in France's games going back to the UEFA Nation Leagues, Euros, World Cup in the last couple of years. Spain have been a massive thorn. It's because the games have been won and lost in midfield. France's midfield isn't up to scratch against Spain's midfield. And Zidane's main goal is to try and figure out how do we, as France, outclass and get the right players to outclass the Spanish midfield. So, I'm comparing France to Real Madrid and Spain to Barcelona because that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. Real Madrid have all this firepower, all these great attackers. Spain have lesser, and Barcelona have lesser firepower than Real Madrid. However, the midfield they have controls games and continues to make chances for the attackers where they should at least score a couple goals if you keep creating chances for them. So now, Real Madrid and France got to figure out a way to outclass the Spanish midfield and outclass the Barcelona midfield. How did they do that? What players? What game plan? And what I'm seeing so far from Real Madrid's preseason is that there is no sort of game plan. It's like, who's the best players for our 4-2-3-1 formation? Could that be the best game plan? We don't know. There isn't sort of a single identity that Real Madrid have and France have. We have all these star players who can attack well. What's the right formation for them? And that's simply it. So we'll see what Mourinho has under his sleeve. He's a lot more experienced than he was when he first came to Real Madrid. I think in 2010 or 2009. I think it was 2010. He's a lot more experienced, and he has better players now. So we'll see what Mourinho has up his sleeves. I'm expecting a spectacular season. La Liga starts next week, and the massive homework is here. How do Real Madrid come up with a game plan to counteract the Barcelona midfield? That is going to be a great, some sort of tactic session, some sort of great planning, and we'll see what happens. I'm Shadows Matchday. Please subscribe, and thanks for watching.